Have you ever met someone who seems to stay calm in chaos, hopeful in hopelessness, and kind even when the world isn't? Someone whose spirit feels unshakable. It's not magic, it's not luck, it's not ignorance of reality. It's something far more powerful, an unbreakable, positive mental attitude. And here's the truth, it's not something you're born with. It's something you build. Let me start with a story. A few years ago, a friend of mine lost his job unexpectedly. He had a family to take care of, bills to pay, and no backup plan. Most people would panic. And he did for a moment. But what amazed me was what happened next. He got quiet. He went for a walk. He came back, made a list. He said, this is the best thing that could have happened. Now, I get to rebuild my life intentionally. He didn't fake positivity. He chose it. He leaned into challenge instead of running from it. That's what we're here to talk about today. Not just thinking happy thoughts, but cultivating a resilient mindset that doesn't break when life gets tough. So, how do we do that? Let me share 3 foundational principles. Belief is the foundation of every action we take and every response we give. When it comes to developing an unbreakable, positive mental attitude, the most important belief you can adopt is this: life is not happening to you, it is happening for you. This simple idea changes everything. It shifts your perspective from being a victim of your circumstances to being an active participant in your own growth. When we believe that life is conspiring against us, we become reactive. We view challenges as unfair punishments and setbacks as personal failures. Every obstacle becomes a source of frustration and we begin to feel helpless. But when we shift our belief even slightly to the idea that life is working for us, even when it's hard, something powerful happens. We begin to see problems as part of a bigger process. We stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? This shift doesn't eliminate pain or difficulty. It doesn't mean we pretend everything is fine when it isn't. What it does is help us frame our experience in a way that allows us to stay grounded, hopeful, and forward moving. That's what makes belief so important. It shapes our resilience. Because when you believe there's meaning in your struggle, you can endure almost anything. Think about someone going through a tough time. Maybe they've lost a job, ended a relationship, or experienced failure. If they believe this moment defines them, they shrink. They stop trying. But if they believe this moment refines them, they grow. They reflect, adapt, and reemerge stronger. The situation may be the same, but the outcome is radically different because of one thing: belief. Belief also influences how we see ourselves. People with resilient attitudes believe they are capable of change. They believe they are resourceful, even if they haven't figured everything out yet. They don't need all the answers, they just need to trust that they can find their way through. And that trust gives them the courage to take the next step, even when the path is unclear. What's powerful is that belief is a choice. You don't have to wait for life to convince you to. Think this way. You can choose today to believe that your experiences, good and bad, are shaping you into someone stronger. You can choose to believe that your challenges have purpose. And you can choose to believe that you have what it takes to navigate them. Some of the most resilient people are not the smartest, strongest, or most talented. They're simply the ones who believed they had something worth fighting for. They believed in their ability to learn. They believed the situation could improve, and that belief kept them moving. If you want to develop an unbreakable, positive attitude, start by examining what you believe. Ask yourself, do I believe I'm being prepared or punished? Do I believe this is the end or just the beginning of a better chapter? Your answers to those questions will determine your posture in the face of adversity. You don't need perfect circumstances to stay positive. You just need a belief system that refuses to break under pressure. Because when your belief is rooted in growth, purpose, and possibility, your attitude becomes unshakable even in the storms of life. We live in a world that constantly tells us to chase comfort. Advertisements promise us easier lives, quicker solutions, and paths of least resistance. From an early age, we're conditioned to avoid discomfort, to seek out what's safe, predictable, and painless. But when it comes to developing a truly unbreakable, positive mental attitude, comfort is not the answer. Meaning is, there's a deep truth that most people overlook. Comfort doesn't create strength, meaning does. Comfort keeps us still, but meaning moves us forward. It gives our struggles purpose, our failures context, and our pain a reason to keep going. People who cultivate strong, resilient mindsets don't do so because their lives are easy. They do it because they've attached meaning to their challenges. They know that what they're going through matters, that it's shaping them into something more. And that belief fuels their positivity even when life gets hard. Comfort, on the other hand, often leads to stagnation. When you make comfort your priority, you avoid risks, you turn away from difficult conversations, shy away from growth opportunities, and settle for less than you're capable of. You begin to protect your current state instead of striving toward a better one. The problem is comfort never lasts. Life will eventually disrupt it. And when that happens, when discomfort inevitably arrives, if all you've trained for is ease, you'll break. Meaning is different. Meaning gives you a reason to endure. It answers the question, why am I doing this? In a way that keeps your spirit intact, even when your circumstances are tough. It allows you to embrace pain without becoming bitter, to face uncertainty without falling apart. When you're driven by something deeper than ease, whether it's purpose, love, contribution, or legacy, you tap into a level of strength most people never access. Think of the people who inspire you, the ones who keep showing up, even after disappointment, the ones who face hardship with grace, the ones who radiate positivity, even when their lives are far from perfect. You'll find that they don't chase comfort. They chase meaning. They're not avoiding pain, they're leveraging it. They're using their struggles to grow, to help others, to build something that matters. This mindset doesn't come naturally. It's something you choose and something you must re-choose every day. It's easier to scroll, to numb out, to avoid. It's harder to pause and ask yourself, what am I doing this for? What's the bigger picture? But that hard question is where resilience begins. It's where your mindset starts to shift from fragile to unbreakable. When you pursue meaning, you learn to sit with discomfort. You begin to see fear, pain, and failure not as enemies, but as necessary teachers. And as you do, your relationship with life changes. You stop wishing it was easier and start focusing on becoming better. You stop needing every moment to feel good because you know it's working towards something that is good. So if you want to build a positive mental attitude that lasts, not one that collapses at the first sign of trouble, stop asking, how can I be more comfortable? Start asking, what does this mean? What's the purpose behind this pain? What am I building through this? Meaning doesn't eliminate pain. It gives pain a reason. And when you're connected to that reason, you become almost impossible to shake. Life can throw storms your way, but if you're anchored in purpose, you'll hold steady. And in time, you won't just endure life, you'll grow through it, thrive in it, and inspire others to do the same. That's the power of meaning. It transforms discomfort into growth, pressure into strength, and struggle into story. And in that transformation, your attitude becomes truly unbreakable. Most people treat positivity like a feeling, something that comes and goes depending on how life is treating them. If things are going well, they feel positive. If life gets hard, that positivity vanishes. But the truth is, real, lasting positivity isn't a mood. It's a discipline, a conscious, daily practice that doesn't depend on circumstances, but is rooted in choice. Think about physical fitness. You don't get strong by feeling like working out once in a while. You get strong by showing up even when you don't want to. Mental and emotional strength works the same way. You can't wait to feel positive. You have to train yourself to be positive. That means developing habits, thought patterns, and responses that support your mindset no matter what's going on around you. This kind of discipline is subtle. It's not loud or flashy. It's not about always smiling or pretending everything is perfect. It's about the small, internal choices you make every day. Do you reach for blame or responsibility? Do you complain, or do you look for what you can control? Do you ruminate on what went wrong, or reflect on what you can learn? These decisions might seem minor, but they shape your mental environment. Over time, those choices form your emotional baseline. If your default habit is to spiral into negativity every time something goes wrong, that becomes your mental home. But if your default becomes to pause, breathe, and respond with perspective, your mind starts to work for you instead of against you. This is why people with truly unshakable positive attitudes don't rely on motivation, they rely on routines. They practice gratitude daily, not just when life feels good. They speak to themselves with encouragement, not just when they're succeeding, but especially when they're struggling. They're not waiting for inspiration to strike. They're training their brain to find light in the dark. Of course, this doesn't mean they never feel discouraged or frustrated. They're human. But because they've built discipline around positivity, they don't stay in those emotions. They know how to shift. They've created tools, whether it's journaling, movement, meditation, prayer, or perspective taking, that help them reset and refocus. That's what separates them from people who are constantly riding emotional roller coasters. They've trained for balance. Inconvenient. Over time, you'll find that positivity stops being something you have to think about and starts becoming part of who you are. Because the most powerful version of positivity isn't the one that waits for things to go right. It's the one that stands tall when things go wrong. It's built in discipline. And that's what makes it unbreakable. ChatGPT said growth never happens in a straight line. It's messy, uncomfortable, and often disguised as failure. But those who truly grow, who evolve mentally, emotionally, and spiritually have one thing in common: they have perspective. Without perspective, we misinterpret pain. We see setbacks as signs to stop instead of signals to learn. But with perspective, even the hardest experiences can become stepping stones towards something better. Perspective is the ability to zoom out. It's the mental skill of stepping back and asking, what else could this mean? It's what separates someone who gives up from someone who grows. Two people can go through the exact same challenge. One falls apart, the other gets stronger. The difference isn't the circumstance, it's how they see it. When you lack perspective, problems feel permanent. You believe your current situation defines your future. A lost opportunity feels like the end. A rejection feels like a reflection of your worth. But when you've trained yourself to look beyond the moment, you begin to understand that pain isn't punishment, it's preparation. That loss might be redirecting you. That failure might be teaching you something no success ever could. Perspective allows you to turn pain into progress. It doesn't take the pain away, but it gives it context. It reminds you that discomfort is part of growth. Think about going to the gym. The soreness you feel after a workout isn't a sign that something's wrong. It's proof that you're building strength. Life works the same way. Without some strain, there is no transformation. But if all you see is the soreness, if you forget why you're in the gym in the first place, you'll stop showing up. People who grow through adversity don't pretend the adversity isn't real. They just choose to interpret it differently. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? They ask, what is this trying to teach me? That simple shift turns obstacles into opportunities. It doesn't make the journey easier, but it makes it meaningful. The challenge is that perspective takes effort. In the middle of stress or disappointment, it's easy to shrink into frustration. It's easy to react emotionally, to let fear take over, to believe the worst. But if you can train yourself to pause, to breathe, and to widen your view, you gain access to strength most people never touch. Perspective also reminds you that growth is never wasted. Even if you don't get the outcome you wanted, the person you became in the process still matters. Maybe the business failed, maybe the relationship ended. But who you became while navigating that journey more resilient, more wise, more self-aware, that's yours to keep. That's growth. And here's something powerful. The more you develop perspective, the faster you recover. Life will still hit you, but you'll bounce back quicker. You'll find meaning faster. You'll waste less time in blame or regret. Instead of getting stuck in the problem, you'll start focusing on the solution. That's how you gain momentum. Perspective doesn't eliminate difficulty. It just gives you the clarity to keep going. It helps you remember that your current struggle is part of a much bigger picture. And when you carry that awareness with you, growth stops being a question of luck, it becomes a matter of time. So the next time life feels hard, stop. Step back. Zoom out. Ask better questions. Look for the lesson. And trust that the version of you on the other side of this challenge will be stronger, wiser, and more capable than the one standing in it today. Because growth doesn't come from ease. It comes from how you see what you're going through. And the clearer your perspective, the deeper your growth. Emotional strength isn't built in dramatic moments, it's built in the quiet, ordinary ones. It's not something you wake up with overnight or find during a crisis. It's the result of small, consistent habits practiced over time. The truth is, we don't rise to the level of our goals in difficult moments, we fall into the level of our habits. And the same applies to our emotional resilience. If we want to stay grounded when life gets hard, we have to train for it when life is calm. Small habits create the foundation of a strong mindset. Things like journaling for 5 minutes in the morning, taking deep breaths before reacting, or expressing gratitude each night may seem insignificant on their own. But over time, these micro decisions shape how we experience the world. They form the emotional muscle memory that kicks in when things go wrong. When someone seems emotionally strong, calm under pressure, steady in chaos, positive in pain, it's not luck. It's not natural talent. It's discipline. That calm didn't happen in the crisis. It was built in the days, weeks, and months leading up to it through small, repeated actions that train their brain nervous system and mindset to respond instead of react. Take, for example, the habit of pausing before you respond. It's simple but powerful. That 2-second pause before replying to a triggering message, before reacting to someone's tone, before speaking out of anger can change everything. It gives you space to choose your response instead of being ruled by emotion. Over time, that pause becomes second nature. You start to feel more in control of your reactions, and that control is a form of strength. Another small but vital habit is reframing. This is the practice of intentionally choosing a different perspective in the face of adversity. Maybe your day didn't go as planned. You can say, this ruined everything, or you can say, this gave me a chance to practice flexibility. The habit of reframing doesn't deny reality, it simply gives you power over how you interpret it. And that interpretation, repeated daily, becomes the story you live by. Gratitude is another example. Writing down just 3 things you're grateful for each day might feel like a cliche, but research and experience both show that this simple practice rewires your brain. It shifts your focus away from what's lacking or wrong and toward what's good and stable. When practiced consistently, gratitude increases emotional endurance. It helps you face challenges with a sense of perspective and calm. Even the habit of speaking kindly to yourself matters. The words you repeat inside your head every day eventually become your truth. When your inner dialogue is compassionate, honest, and encouraging, you're more likely to bounce back after failure. You become your own source of support rather than your harshest critic. And that shift over time becomes a source of strength you can count on. All of these habits are simple. None of them require massive effort or radical change, but practiced regularly, they make a profound impact. They help you stay emotionally stable when the unexpected happens. They help you hold your peace when the world around you feels chaotic. And they help you remain hopeful even when you feel stretched thin. The mistake people make is waiting for big moments to become stronger. They think emotional toughness will just show up when they need it most. But strength doesn't show up, it's built up. It's cultivated in the daily disciplines no one sees. It's hidden in the small decisions that over time prepare you for the big ones. So if you want to be unshakable, don't wait for life to test you. Start building now. Create a few small, steady habits that keep your mind clear and your heart strong. Because when the storms come, and they will, it's not the big things that carry you through. It's the small things you've done over and over again that make you emotionally unbreakable. Leadership isn't about titles, authority, or having all the answers. At its core, leadership is about influence, and the way you influence others the most is through how you respond. In moments of pressure, stress, uncertainty, or challenge, people watch what you do more than they listen to what you say. Your response becomes your leadership. Your attitude becomes your message. We all face moments that test us, unexpected problems, difficult people, disappointing outcomes. It's in those exact moments that your response either builds trust or breaks it. Do you react with anger, fear, or blame? Or do you stay grounded, composed, and thoughtful? The way you respond tells people what kind of leader you are, whether you lead in the boardroom, in your family, or simply by example in your everyday life. The most powerful people in any environment aren't necessarily the ones with the most control. They're the ones who bring calm when others panic. They hold steady when others spiral. They ask better questions instead of jumping to conclusions. This doesn't mean they don't feel stress or uncertainty. It means they've trained themselves to pause, reflect, and then respond with intention. Every situation gives you a choice. Will I respond in a way that adds value or in a way that adds to the chaos? This choice defines your leadership. If you explode every time something doesn't go your way, you teach others to walk on eggshells. If you shut down in difficulty, you signal that avoidance is the answer. But if you respond with calm confidence, even when it's hard, you model strength. You create psychological safety. You give people permission to show up with courage, not fear. Leadership isn't about being perfect, it's about being consistent. People don't need you to have all the answers. They need to know that when things go wrong, you won't collapse. They need to know they can count on your mindset to remain steady. And that steadiness doesn't come from ignoring your emotions, it comes from managing them well. Your response also impacts your own sense of identity. When you choose to respond with patience instead of frustration, compassion instead of criticism, or optimism instead of despair, you reinforce the kind of person you want to be. Those choices shape your character, and over time, that character becomes the foundation for your influence. This is especially true in moments when you could easily justify reacting poorly, when you've been wronged, when you've been let down, when you're under pressure and no one would blame you for lashing out. It's in those moments that your response carries the most weight, because it's in those moments that you reveal your values. Are you reactive or reflective? Are you driven by ego or guided by principle? Every response becomes a ripple. People may not remember everything you say, but they will remember how you made them feel, especially in difficult moments. And those feelings shape how they see you, how they trust you, and whether they choose to follow you. The good news is this kind of leadership is available to everyone. You don't need a platform to practice it. You just need awareness and discipline. You can lead in the way you respond to traffic, to criticism, to disappointment, to failure, to uncertainty. Every one of those responses is a statement of your leadership. So ask yourself, what am I communicating by the way I respond? Am I reinforcing fear or building confidence? Am I leading with control or with clarity? Because in the end, your greatest influence won't come from your words, it will come from your presence. And your presence is shaped day by how you choose to respond when it matters most.